Okay, let's get started. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're here to share with you the changes in the way in which you claim your commissions, or rather don't have to claim your commissions going forward. So today's agenda, let me take it through you. Yes, next slide please, Stace. Thank you. So we'll go through what's changing and when. We'll talk to you about how the commission system calculates the commissions going forward with our CFO, Nicole Glenn. I'll then introduce you to our National Commissions Manager, Sam Callahan, and her team. She'll take you through why we're making the change, the commission process, the new payment runs, and our service level agreements, our SLAs. We'll then go through a live demo of the system with our lead developer, Julie Weaver, take you through some frequently asked questions, and then on to what do you need to do now, and then through to question time. Next slide, please, Stace. I'd now like to hand over to our CFO, Nicole Glenn, for what changes are coming up in February. Over to you, Nicole.
Thanks, Tracy, and morning, everyone. So I guess the headline change that for anyone who has been looking at the correspondence or attended a previous meeting is that based on feedback, based on us wanting to continue to communicate with each of you around what does it mean for a referrer versus a split code, we're now making the change to the new system from 1 Feb. So it's been a big year. Everyone wants to go into Christmas and have confidence that they can have a break and we can come back in the new year. Nothing changes around the content, around the behaviour and the understanding of the systems. We still want to speak with all of you in the lead up to Christmas. We've done a lot of work around the data model, and we've had some really good conversations to clarify, you know, this concept of a variable, notification that you're telling us on a loan versus a predefined split. And I'll go into the data model shortly, but I guess the headline for everyone on the call, take a breath. We're doing this from 1 Feb. But please continue to engage with both your PMs and us so that we can really get, you know, the referral information and use of both the CRM and the revenue management system underway from the start of the year. Next slide, please. So what I thought would be helpful is to talk through how we're looking at the data models. So we've got a split model and we've got what we're referring to as a business model. They're largely the same, but what we can see through the data by way of example is with the split model, the variable component of how we cut up the commission sits at the agreement holder level. And you'll see later when we get to the business model that the variable component sits at the member level. So as per the diagram on the left here, we've got an example of an agreement holder, so the business that has the agreement with the aggregator. We then have, in some instances, 1 or 2 levels, so what we're referring to as a member, so someone else within the business relationship where they receive part of the payment. That might be head office of the business, it might be a mentor, it might be some other relationship. So not the loan consultant, but someone who earns part of the commission split. And you can also see there, by way of example, we can have multiple loan consultants. So those are what we call predefined rates. The predefined rates are where you've advised us to pay a loan consultant.
Earphones.
Sorry, someone's coming off mute there. But anyway, so just where you've advised us in advance to pay a loan consultant 60 or 70%, which means there's a layer then of the member that gets 10, and then the balance is with the agreement holder. That's a permanent thing, so we understand that and we don't need you to do anything. Where there's a referrer, and this is where it's different to the concept of claims, what we need you to do is from time to time, if someone has referred a deal, and so it's not on every transaction, you go into the CRM and you select in the referrer drop-down ABC Pty Limited because you want us to pay 20% on that transaction. So again, by way of example, on the right here, you can see instead of the loan consultant A getting 60%, they would get 40 because the referrer gets 20. So that's the logic, I suppose, with the data model. So next slide, please. Same concept here in terms of the data model. So again, we can see that there's various levels within the structures, but what we're showing here is where the member perhaps has more influence over what is paid to loan consultant A or B, so therefore the variable component sits with them. And so again, we're just identifying that there's both ways for us to work with your requirements in sharing of commission. So again, anything predefined and agreed, we would understand how to split up that, $95 that comes in. And on the left, on the right, we're showing an example where a referrer would come off the splits there. The other thing we have, which is quite a common scenario, is for reasons where a loan consultant is paid a higher commission if they self-source a deal. So this is in addition to payment of referrer. So where a loan consultant wants to tell the commission team, please pay me at a higher rate, in both Podium and MyCRM, there's an option to tick yes, this loan has been self-sourced. And if you do that, then we understand, don't pay me at my normal 60% as a loan consultant because I self-source this loan, so I'm entitled to 75. And again, on the example of both the split model and the business model, on the left you can see if loan consultant ticked yes, again by way of example, instead of them getting 60%, they would get 75%. Or loan consultant B, instead of them getting 70 as their primary rate, they would get 85. So that's what we use the yes-no concept within the CRM. And again, the business model, it's the same concept, it's just a matter of where the variable split changes. So for self-source loans, for any loan consultant, we'll have the ability to pay you at a different rate based on you selecting, yes, this loan is self-sourced. So just hopefully that gives you, again, it's a simple example. I know there's a lot of other relationships, but it just gives you some understanding in terms of the terminology around claims and splits versus use of referrers. So I'll hand over now to Samantha. Again, who'll talk through a little bit more about how we manage the commission team and just where we're headed to in February next year.
Thanks, Nick. Hi, everyone. Thanks for taking the time out. And for those that are the second time around or third time around, thanks again for joining us. So today we're talking about the change to the commission system, RMS, into the new commission system. And on screen, you can see here myself and the 4 commissions officers that will be supporting you in February. So I'll just take the opportunity to introduce each one of these guys to you. Leah is on leave today. So Lachlan, if you just like to come off mute.
Lachlan.
There he is. Darshna.
Hi.
And Cindy, if you can come off mute and say hello.
Hi.
There she is. So these guys are here from 1 February with your new commissions team, and the change that will be implemented is you will have one email address for everything. So anything to do with the payment that you've just received, you'll email us at the email address you see on screen, plan.commissions@loanmarketgroup.com, and or give us a phone call on the number you see here on screen, and we will respond to you, which leads me to our SLAs. Next slide, please, Stace. So we've got, currently today, I work in the loan market side of the business, and the loan market side of the business has a 2-day response time for lender inquiry around and broker inquiry. So that's our promise to you. Once we move into the new commission system, RMS, we have a 2-day response time. So you'll email us, and we'll talk to you about what your inquiry is, and then obviously we'll be all over those lender inquiries, because as we all know today, sometimes our lender partners take a little bit longer. So we'll be on top of that for you. We'll track that for you. So there's just one place to come to for your commission inquiries. Next slide, please, Stace. So why are we making this change? Moving into the one commission system will set us up for success. Moving into My CRM, obviously the transition there, and the pulling of data daily, and the change that we're implementing with the addition of your referrer against the transaction will mean that you won't need to claim your commission any longer. So as at February, we will take the data daily out of each one of the CRMs, those that have transitioned into My CRM and those that are still on Podium. We'll take your data daily. You will nominate the referrer that you want us to pay, and then we'll pay you out in any one of the two allocated commission runs. This change will take us closer to no unmatched. Right now, today in the low market side of the business, there is no unmatched. So this is what we would like to move to for Plan, which is all commission matched off in one of our payment runs. So which leads me to that, the payment runs themselves, and being better aligned to the deposits that we receive into our bank account. Next slide, please. If I can just talk to the data here in a sec. We're making the change as at 2022 to the 16th and the last business day of the month. Plan is business as usual right up until February with their there's two payment runs, and we'll talk to that in a minute. But from February onwards, the 16th and the last business day, we are moving the payment runs to based on when we receive the lender deposits into our bank account. So if we can talk to that data now, Stace, in the next slide, the reason for the change. This graph is showing you LMA, Fast, Choice and Plan together, and the deposits that we receive. And as you can see here, week 1, there's minimal. 2, there's a bit more. Most of our lenders pay us around the 18th, 19th, 21st. There's a few more leading up to the end of the month, and a few stragglers at the end of the month. So it doesn't make any sense to process commissions out 5 times a month for efficiencies and making sure that we process everything to you. So back to the no claiming and just processing, no unmatched. We've moved to the 16th and the end of the month. Understanding that's a big change for everyone, but efficiency is paramount to the move. Next slide, please. So the way that you currently nominate, when you're currently in the commission system, you actually claim and you put your split codes against the transaction. That will change. So as at today, if you're in My CRM, just add your referrer against the transaction, because obviously you'll still be claiming in the commission system Podium. That won't change, but getting you used to what is changing. And when we make the first payments in February to you, the referrer nomination is really important to get used to that. And so if you can start making this change now today, that'll set you up for success in February. A list of approved referrers will be against your transaction in either one of the systems, which is Podium and My CRM. And we've got Julie on with us today to just bring up the CRM, and I'll talk to that a bit as far as that's concerned. So first of all, we've got Podium up here on screen, and the change will be you go down into the application, click on the transaction, and we'll scroll down to the section where your commission referrer should be nominated against it. Click on that, and once you start typing in 3 letters, all of the agreements that you have in place with your referrers should pre-populate. Click on one of those, and that's the way that you can nominate your referrer against the transaction. If this lead was self-generated, and generally this is part of the change, you would tick that, and the percentage that is paid out, usually if it's self-generated by yourself, is a higher rate. This will tell us from the data, expectation data that we pull daily, that was a lead generated by yourself, and all the change to the commission's percentage. So you're nominating that, otherwise it'll default back to it's not self-gen. And then you would save, and then we would take that data. So it's Podium. So My CRM, the change is against the transaction. If you go into lending, scroll down, open up the transaction itself. In the application, you've got the opportunity to add your referrer here. So the first part is very similar to Podium, where was this? This is the new selection that you can pick, yes or no, self-generated. And down in the referrals, if you start typing again, all of the referral agreements that you have in place today will pre-populate, and you can select which one that you want against the transaction. These videos actually are in the FAQs that are emailed out to the network. So if you need some training around that, you can click on those. So next slide, please, Stace. I just want to talk a little bit about the other change that you'll see from February onwards, which is your payment information. So rather than you picking up your payment information out of the commission system today, you will be emailed a RCTI with all of the relative information. As you can see on screen here, here's an example. So we've just got, it's very similar to what you're receiving today. The only difference is we're completely transparent with the lender payment side of things. You'll see there, we've got the lender payment into plan, and then obviously the percentage rate for the agreement holder. Now, this is the second screenshot here, also shows the referrer deduction. If once you've selected that referrer in one of the CRMs, that's what we're seeing coming through in the expectation data that we're matching off for you, and that's who we're paying on behalf of your business. So that's a really important piece where you're adding your referrer against your transaction. So you'll receive an RCTI, and so will your referrer. And if you've nominated Plan to pay any one of your members or your loan writers, they will also receive a RCTI with their information on their RCTI. Both of these also come with a Excel report that is just a dump of the payment data that you can manipulate and use into any one of your systems that you need for accounting, like Xero, for instance. Next slide, please. So what do you do in February when you haven't been paid? Rather than lodging a claim in the commissions system, you would just send an email to the commissions team, which is the plan.commissions@loanmarketgroup.com. In that email, you would just put the standard information, which is lender, client name, loan amount, settlement date, application number, or lender reference if you have it. Then the team will investigate from there. So that's, if you haven't received commission, you email the team communicate back to you. If you haven't received commission and you need to talk to someone, you would pick up the phone and use that number there. We'll investigate and make sure that we keep you updated every step of the way. And like I said, we've been doing this on the loan market side of the business, and we do it really well. So our aim is to make sure that those SLAs are, if not immediately implemented, very soon. Next slide, please. So what do you need to do today? So going live in February 22, make sure, and also leading up to there, that you're looking at your referrer information in both platforms, Podium and MyCRM. If you can't find your referral agreement in either one of those platforms, email the agreements team on this number, on this email address that you see here. So agreements@loanmarketgroup.com, and they can investigate for you and see why you can't see your referral agreement there. Make sure you start to update your email address in the commission system, because once we make this move in February, we will be emailing out your payment information. So make sure that's up to date now. And then obviously it's business as usual for you today. So claiming in Plan Commission's website up until February 22, no change for you. Continue to claim as you are today. Start getting used to the fields in Podium and MyCRM, and as Nick has spoken to about the business models, we'll continue to talk to you to make you feel comfortable that this change is something that is really going to be saving you time and most of all, keeping you safe. Next slide, please. Just talking a little bit about the payments for Plan currently. So Plan business as usual, when you can expect your payments from Jeffrey's team who's processing out. There was a delay for Westpac. I think everyone knows that. That's in the payment run today. Jeff's team's pushed that out with a lot of communication with Westpac. That was a commission system change for that group, not Plan. And then you can see here on screen, Thursday, the 16th of December will be the next commission payment for planned business as usual. And then the last commission payment out for the holidays is the 23rd of December. And making sure that we're around to answer any questions. Jeff's team will be there. Getting that last payment out so everyone can take a break. Coming back into January, you can see here that the payments have changed as we've advised. The first payment out will be January the 17th and the last business day in on the 31st. Next slide. So question time, and if anyone would like to, I think there's a few chats going on already that are being answered, but I think Tracy's going to take us through some of those questions if we haven't answered them already. And feel free to come off mute or put your hand up.
You just took all my words, Sam. Thanks. I think we've got someone off mute there, Michael Wasif.
Yes, sorry if I missed the first 3 minutes. So if you've covered this question, apologies. I'm new to Plan. I just wanted to know, do you guys have a sheet that shows which days the particular lenders make their payments to Plan?
We do have that, yes. That's available to you in Podium, or have you already moved across to My CRM?
Yes, I was on My CRM to begin with. So all this about claiming commissions and all that, I wasn't advised. I don't know anything about all that. So
are you talking about when the lenders are paying us, or when we pay?
Yeah. So when the lenders are making their payment, so like just so I can make a list of when I can expect to receive the payment from that lender.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you just put your email address in the chat function, and I'll email it out to you?
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, there's a here from Julie Ryburn. What happens when brokers choose a self-generated yes option and it actually wasn't? Will we actually organise the clawback and send that higher split to the agreement holder? In other words, can we do an adjustment?
Yeah, no, I think I've responded to most of them. Thanks, Trey. So the answer is yes. So the way we deal with adjustments, you would just contact Samantha and the team, and we would reverse the original transaction and then repay it as it should have been. So it's nice and neat, and trail flows through as if it was always done that way.
And just adding to that, obviously that's from the February payment onwards, if there's any change there. So again, business as usual into your plan team that you're used to talking to today for any changes that you need to make on claims. So you're still claiming today.
Yep.
There was a question around
I'd imagine that hopefully those RCTIs already went out. I'm not sure what's happened there, but we'll look into that for you, Gary, if that's not if they're not already available. Or I know we did. Perhaps the system needs to be turned back on after processing the payment, but
we'll look into that today, Nick, with Jeff's team, the plan team, and find out. Yep. Perfect. Next off.
Cool. So will the link be sent out via a recorded webinar? The answer is yes. It will be sent out tomorrow in some comms. Michelle, I think Nicole's answered that question. We have several levels of internal split codes based on which broker does a lead advice lodgement. This is not a binary option. How will that work, do you think? So Nicole's answered that. We can answer any specific requirements for your business. If you could send through any specific inquiries to the agreements@loanmarketgroup.com, or ask your PM to book in some time with Nicole and Sam. What else have we got? Alan faints, so no commission payable on the 2nd or the 9th. No, so Alan, so we're moving to two payments each month based on what Sam's sort of taken you through, and obviously that's to that'll basically pick up the majority of the lenders in the other 2 weeks that we're actually going to be paying. What if your referrer has a few commission arrangements?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump on that one. I think if it's referring, for example, we're aware of scenarios where the same referrer, whether that be individual or company, is paid differently depending on the transaction. So if you can imagine, you'll have referrer 10%, you'll have referrer 20%, and you would again on the particular loan, you will need to advise us. In this instance, please pay 20% to the referrer. On the next loan, it might be that you select referrer with 10%, and those payments would go through to the one entity through the commission mechanism. There was a question on RCTIs. Everyone who receives a payment will have an RCTI. The agreement holder RCTI, as Sam mentioned, will have comprehensive information of all the monies in and all the monies out. Referrer and or member and or loan consultant RCTIs will have the information that relates to what they received. And so not, again, anything other than to do with the monies that were deposited into their bank account. If there's no referrer, is there anything to be done? No, good question. No, there isn't. So again, for anything that you contemplate as a permanent predefined split of relationships, we would have that understanding and we will make payments accordingly.
Okay. Nicole Johnson's asked where she can find the information on when lenders will be paying in MyCRM.
Yeah, so it's a good one. I'm not sure if Sam, if we publish that, but what we'll do is we've got the calendar again. We'll produce a calendar even if it's an updated version, and we'll make that available both in PlanCom website and MyCRM. So we'll get that out to you so that everyone's more familiar on that timetable.
Cool. Alex Sedino, for existing brokers working under a business that were previously set up in Podium, would that be carried across default to MyCRM, or does the broker have to select the breakdown for each application?
I'll speak.
Yeah, okay.
It's
Oh, you
I
go,
believe
Julie. No, you go.
Yep, starting this week. I think the values are being migrated across as of everyone who migrated last week, I should say. But if not last week, then definitely this week. But yes, the plan is that all that data will be migrated across to MyCRM for you. Thank
you. Another question from Gerardette. Just to confirm, RCTIs will be emailed from February, and so therefore brokers need to go to the Commission's website to obtain their RCTIs as they do right now?
Yes, correct.
Yes. Yeah, cool.
And again, sorry, Sam. So I think it's a good point to just again reconfirm. Please keep doing what you're doing now in relation to your claims and access to RCTI and data. So it really is business as usual until February, and we'll obviously communicate again before go live. What we really do want to do, however, is to get that change of behaviour and that understanding on the use of the CRMs with a selection of a referrer. If we communicate with each other over the next 3 or so weeks in the lead up to December, we can validate all your questions on your data models. So then you'll see the referrers, you'll understand in the new world of 1 Feb, this is how I tell commissions, you know, how to pay me if it's not a permanent arrangement. So in the interim, you're focusing on your pipeline, which is identifying referrers for future settlements. Anything that's been paid, we obviously will tell you, and you'll continue to make claims as you do today. Hopefully that helps.
Cool. So that answers the next one, Richard. For Richard Aids, yes, your referrals will be emailed as well. Just conscious of time as well. It's 12:30, so happy to continue if you want to stay on, and we'll keep answering these questions while we've got the team here to answer them. All right, what about commercial loans? Do they go direct to the business banking lender? Well, that goes, sorry, direct to the business banking lender and don't get loaded via Podium or through Apply Online. We currently go to the commission section of Podium and load the loan basic details ready for payment.
So again, that's the same as today. Yep. Exactly what you're doing today, you'll still continue to do in the commission system until February. So you'll load that shell, I think it is the same in the system, and then advise the commissions team of the splits.
So Jing is asking a question about referral agreement splits in Podium. So we've answered that just before, that they'll come across. Andrew Thomas, will we know the dates? Will we know all the dates? Will we know what dates all payments will be made during 2022 and beyond, so we can put them in the calendar?
Yes, definitely. So the dates for 2022 are the 16th and we'll publish if it falls on a weekend. So generally it'd be the following day and the last business day, but we'll publish a calendar along with all of the lender payments when the lenders generally pay as well. We'll publish all that for you. So there's no confusion.
Okay, comment here. So currently logging into the commission site and downloading RCTIs as per usual until February 2022. Catherine, that's yes. Michael Derouge, what do we do with commercial loans? Do we need to load the deal in my CRM? No, so you'll as you do right now, you'll go in and do a manual commission claim until February, and then going forward, in terms of my CRM, you put the shell of the application, then we'll move to the new system. Michelle Mansfield, will we lose the current commission history? Will we have to download CSB info prior to migration? Nick, did you want to?
Yeah, no, I can. So the PlanCom website, so Plan Back Office will need to cease in the new year because it's part of the NAB infrastructure. So I'm also of the understanding that prior to, I think, 2017, RCTIs were previously emailed. So we will have a copy of all the historical data, and in time we will put some of that historical data into this monthly commission report. But between now and sort of Feb, it is an opportunity for you to access the RCTIs and download anything that you know you need in relation to historical information, because that website access will get turned off.
Cool. Okay. So Richard Aves, we have no split codes, referrers loaded on the commission referrer section. Are these being loaded into the system under Podium? Yes, they are. Alan Faint, was there previous advice around the December payments? No, this is going out tomorrow.
Well, we have, sorry, yeah, in terms of, we have previously talked about the change to the commission dates. There's been a couple of communications. The bit that's changed is we're not going live tomorrow with the new system. So we're continuing with the change of payment dates. We're continuing with wanting to validate the data and for you to understand the selection of a referrer, so that when we flick the switch on 1 Feb, we're very comfortable, from your perspective, you're very comfortable that you understand how to notify us on those referrer and self-gen loan options.
Cool.
And if I may, we just had an update from Jeff, who is in the PlanCom team in relation to the payment out. And yes, the RCTIs are available as normal on the website.
Richard Aves asked about his referrers being loaded into Podium. So is there I wasn't sure if they'd been done already, or is there a specific time that they're
they have all been done. So if they're not, then email the agreements team so that we can investigate why you're not seeing what you think should be there.
Yeah, cool. All right, so there's another question from Robert. As a sole writer, do you need to change anything if there's no referrers? No, the answer is no. Alex, is it possible for a setup to set up a split code for brokers working under the same business? Yes, it is. Again, you just need to email through that to the agreements team. Richard, we'll take that one offline. I'll give you a call after this. So that's all the questions. Hang on, one more has just come through. Just to clarify, if we don't have any referrers, you don't have to do anything, correct? That's right.
Yeah, and so can I just close, just so again, just to be clear, if you're looking in either Podium or My CRM and you can't see your referrers, please email agreements@loanmarketgroup.com or speak to your PM, and we will get in contact with you and we will make sure we're understanding your data model correctly. If you need to set up a new referrer, the form still applies. So that will come into the new combined team. So any new requests for referrers will then set those up accordingly. And again, we'll keep in line with this transition to the new system. So the form's still available as it was for splits, but please email anything you want to validate, or if you want to have a meeting, reach out to your PM or agreements@lowmarketgroup.com.
Excellent. So it doesn't look like we've got any more questions online now. So we might, it's 12:36. So what I would like to suggest is that if you've got any questions going forward, please reach out to your PM. And if you would like to set up a separate meeting with Sam and Nicole to understand, for them to understand your unique situation, then please reach out to your PM and they'll organise that meeting for you. But thanks everyone for your time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.